I hate being a creative. Every day, my head is full of elaborate and innovative ideas that I so desperately want to express and share with those around me, but I constantly feel like I'm unable to. Whether it be from my inability to articulate or lack of assurance in my creative skills, I never feel worthy enough or able to bring my ideas to life. It disappoints me, as not only am I unable to share my ideas and opinions with others, but I'm also letting down my younger self, who is so enamored with the idea of creativity as a whole. I can still remember the long, lazy summer days that I spent with my brother in my bedroom turned art studio. The floor, littered with colored pencils and almost dried out markers, accompanied by notebooks filled to the brim with crude-looking but passionate drawings of landscapes and animals. Without the need for external validation, I was free to create whatever I so desired. I would admire my holy gallery of work with the pride of a father, only to immediately begin to anticipate the next big project that awaited me. Whether it be a collection of sketches depicting my favorite TV characters, or a video series that followed a dynamic plotline filmed on a Nintendo DS, I would always dive in head first, the excitement and desire to create flowing through me with nothing to stop it, until the bud was cut from the stem. My name is Brennan Taglio, and you may know me as the kid who exclusively wore a bandana throughout the entirety of his freshman year. And by the time I had reached middle school, my dream of pursuing a career in art was dead. One morning in homeroom, I took a career test. I can still feel the sensation of my heart sinking into my stomach upon seeing the average salary for an artist. I desperately researched this topic, praying that the statistics that I found were inaccurate, but all that showed up were more signs pointing to the truth. Unless I wanted to starve, I would have to be extremely good or extremely lucky. To make matters worse, I had little to no passion or skill for academics, resulting in a lack of interest or confidence in pursuing a traditional career. This event halted my progress and put me on a permanent creative hiatus. I spent the majority of my time in high school embracing the fact that I had no calling and nothing that I was striving for. I felt the overwhelming social pressure of my peers, who all had some grand dream or skill to pursue, as I sat alone with my head down, just working to make it to Friday. I was doing my best to learn what I could before the inevitability of graduation struck, where I would be cast out into the world with no goal in mind, praying that somehow something would reveal itself to me as a passion to follow. But then one day, it did. On an unassuming Tuesday in March, I stumbled into my room after a tiring day at school. As I placed down my backpack, something on my desk caught my gaze. Surrounded by paperwork and unfinished projects, sat a simple cardboard box. Little did I know that this box would change the course of my life. I unfolded the flaps to find that inside was an old, dusty Nikon D70 DSLR camera. My mother had received it as a gift from a patient of hers and assumed that I would want it. What she believed would be a temporary interest turned into a full-on passion, and for that, I thank her. At first, understanding how it worked felt like learning a foreign language. It was aged and crappy, and I was quick to put it down. However, after a few more attempts, I began to understand it better. That camera reignited something within me, a desire to pursue the creativity that I had left behind so long ago. I began to take it with me everywhere to hone my skills and learn what I needed to improve. It was a crisp, cloudy morning in May when I walked into the California Academy of Sciences, and my passion was confirmed. There's something otherworldly about aquariums. One moment you're standing in a bright, loud lobby overwhelmed by crowds of people, when all of a sudden you're transported into an ethereal, pacifying world where soft blue lighting highlights the dark surroundings, and alluring creatures, some more terrifying than others, glide just within reach of you. This sense of disconnect from life's constant tension is the reason why I am drawn to aquariums as a whole. I was now able to savor my love of the ocean with a camera in hand. As my foot hit the bottom step of the stairs leading to the basement of the Academy of Sciences, I entered the expanse of the sea and her mystifying creatures. Within this space, I was free to photograph whatever I so desired with no concern for dealing with impatient or annoying subject matter. Each of these shots that I took, regardless of their quality, felt liberating. I was preserving a moment in time that held deep meaning for me. Even in post-production, I was transported back to that place, and I was free to influence the photos however I liked. It didn't matter to me whether it was accurate or not visually, as long as it captured the sentiment that I felt standing amongst the wonders of the ocean. Eventually, this interest turned into a search for what a career in media could look like. I began looking at potential niches within the field. Freelance, real estate photography, videography, commercial photography, the options were endless. This evolved into what I would later pursue in my apprenticeships for the next year and a half. I'm extremely grateful to all of my mentors who helped me further my skills through these experiences. Whether wandering through an empty Idaho residence while capturing its rooms in the most appealing light with my uncle, Brennan Taglio, who has his own real estate photography business, or feeling the sweat drip down my face as I ran back and forth on a wide open stage to press record on cameras stationed to film an R&B band with a local media company, Garden Media. I was finally experiencing motivation to pursue a career path. This was it. I had arrived at the point that I had wanted to reach for the entirety of my high school career. I was now ready to take the leap of faith into pursuing a career in media. There was only one problem. I had discovered another passion. As a kid, I pretty much read exclusively fictitious books, and honestly, that hasn't really changed. However, one day, when browsing the shelves situated behind the open-air turtle tank in my first grade library, I came across a book that didn't have a plot or story behind it. Instead, it was full of information about a country in another part of the world. That country was Japan. From the time I was little, I'd always been drawn to Japanese media. Learning as a young boy that many of the books, video games, and shows that I so enjoyed hailed from Japan sparked a desire to seek out more of this material that was so unique and different from anything that was found here. The intense standard for quality of content resulted in characters whom I felt strong, genuine emotion toward, whether of relatability or disdain, and stories that felt more like an experience that I was living through rather than just words on a page. Even outside of fiction, I was drawn to the unique sense of humor of Japanese comedy, the way that TV comedians work together to pull off a single joke, or the slapstick elements of their game show challenges. There was a creativity that wasn't shackled by being too over the top or dramatic, and I wanted more. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I feel like a total nerd stating this. However, it was that same fear of being seen in a negative light for my admiration of these things that resulted in me ignoring them for so long. I am tired of pretending like this media has not greatly impacted me. Japanese works have become a source for many of my inspirations, both as an artist and as a person. The men that you see on screen before you have deeply influenced my life in their works of art, music, and philosophy. This is not to say that the creations of these individuals are more profound than anything found elsewhere, but the fact that they have single-handedly changed the process of my day-to-day life due to their alternative way of thinking only furthers my awe of the creative environment found in that country. A way of portraying ideas that doesn't focus on surface-level experiences, but strives to pry deeper into the soul and bring to light the most vulnerable of emotions through the most overlooked mediums. It is that same alternative creativity that I so desperately try to replicate in my own works of photography. For years, I assumed that my relationship with the country would always be from an outsider's perspective, consuming the media that it distributed and maybe taking a single week-long trip. However, one night, that all changed. I was scrolling on my phone, looking through accounts based in Japan, when I saw a post discussing the current cost of purchasing a home in Okayama. At first, I dismissed it, assuming it to be some scam or program, until I came across another post identical to it, and then another. Upon further research, I found that the housing market was much cheaper than compared to America. My perspective was changed entirely. What if I stayed there longer? From that point on, I aimed to make that goal a reality. I began studying Japanese, taking on the Genki 1 learning course and utilizing language apps that would actually help further my abilities, not Duolingo. I also began to research the potential job opportunities that awaited there and the kind of schooling that I would need to obtain them. Well, that's great, Brennan, you might say, but which passion are you going to choose? As you may have noticed, my speech touches on many different aspects of my life, which to some may have no correlation to one another whatsoever. But in my eyes, they're all tied together by my creative outlook on them. However, when taking part in the NGA, I felt a pressure to pick a single industry to pursue. When faced with this reality, a phrase uttered by Monmu Tenno comes to me. Bunbu Ryodo, the way of both pen and sword. I will not forsake either of my passions. I will pick up my own pen and sword and progress onward. I have always had both, and I will choose both. I want to contribute to the media that has impacted me my entire life by giving back to it. I am aiming to pursue the position of a multicultural media designer at a Japanese company. This job would allow me to offer an American perspective to creative marketing campaigns or products for multicultural companies that have campuses in both America and Japan. Not only will I be able to utilize my skills, knowledge, and passion for photography and creating, but it will also allow me unlimited access to the Japanese creative process. However, a passion and admiration for this content alone will not land me the job, which is why I will be taking the following steps to ensure that I am prepared. After a short Japanese semester at Sierra College, I will be attending KCP International in the spring of 2026. KCP is a language school located in Shinjuku that helps foreign students gain fluency in the Japanese language. This experience will not only further my knowledge of the language, but also allow me unrestricted exposure to the true culture and people of the country through a host family, excursions, and day-to-day interactions. After completion of this course, I will aim to attend a Japanese university that will prepare me for the realities of the business world and award me the credentials to pursue my calling with a strong reputation. However, in order to do this, I need your help. I am asking if you will support me by contributing towards the $6,000 cost of my trip and offer me support through my time abroad to help me gain fluency in the language and experience the true nature of the professional environment. In return, I promise to fully dedicate myself to my education and continue pursuing my skills in media to prepare for future opportunities. So, do I really hate being a creative? Sometimes, but sometimes not. This personality type is both a blessing and a curse, which is why despite my efforts to remain in line with what the NGA typically entails, I can't help but go outside of the box with what I truly believe is my path for the future and choose both of my passions. I want to make one last promise to myself with a witness of the people here tonight. No matter what doubts may come in the future, whether from myself or others, and no matter what hardships I may face, I will never forsake my passions, either of them. No matter where life takes me, they will always remain an inseparable part of who I am. Thank you.